Hello and welcome to Castle Park, Doncaster in South Yorkshire, where, well, the sun was doing its best to shine a little bit earlier on, and where we are delighted to be for this round 4 match of the Greene King IPA Championship, where this afternoon we will be enjoying hosts Doncaster Knights taking on Ealing Trailfinders. And in terms of the form of these two sides, well, it's pretty even Stevens, as there's just a point between them in the championship table. Both sides moving swiftly past their opening weekend defeats onto 2 victories since then. And well, when you're in Yorkshire, you've got to find yourself a Yorkshireman to broadcast with, and we're delighted to have former Leeds and Newcastle centre Rob Vickerman with us. Rob, well, welcome to Castle Park.
I feel I should say now then.
Now, yes, absolutely. That'll be enjoyable. In terms of these two sides, there's a few tasty matchups. I know the 2 men at the back are the first ones you wanted to highlight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really intriguing. Both really like to play, and with that, you've got to have a bit of pace at the back. They've certainly got that. Now, we saw last week Pete Lydon just how mesmeric his boot can be. Really impressive how he can be probing with that. But if you're not accurate, the likes of Paul Jarvis at the back for Doncaster really can capitalise on it. They've got an exciting back 3, Doncaster. So if Lydon's not accurate, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, okay. And then that midfield battle as well, your sort of area of specialty. We've got a little and large combo, you know, the big South African on the one side, and then 5'8" Elliot Creed.
Yeah, and how about that? You're called Creed, the rookie connotations coming through, and you're 5'8" and about 80 kilograms. So for me, I think it's really exciting when we're talking about this global game about being big power runners. We've got someone who's not that. You know, he's not a big, hard-hitting centre. He's a distributor. New Zealand have grown up on that culture of having a second 5'8", the fly half who can play centre, and that means you can open up the back line.
And then that back row as well, where we're expecting it to be very competitive. Jordan Tyrrell, the Samoan, the big man there, who's is going to be looking at Ollie Steadman coming towards him.
Yeah, which is easy to do. Steadman's pretty big as well, so there's going to be some clashes, the Titans up front, and then that's where the game is going to be won. That back row battle, all important. We get the ball, we're going to see the attack. Defence has to be on point. It really is going to be an entertaining game.
Yeah, it certainly should be. Well, it's a big weekend of Championship Rugby, so we can have a look at the fixtures that are taking place over the course of round 4. And, well, the 2 o'clock kickoff, where we'll be able to bring you some updates on shortly. London Scottish against Jersey Reds, both sides looking for their first win in the competition. Then Hartpury College against Coventry, that is also a 2:30 kickoff. Last season's New Boys against this season's New Boys. Coventry 2 wins already after holding on at home to Bedford last weekend. Cornish Pirates against Richmond, that's taking place tomorrow, 2:30 kickoff there. Table-topping Pirates with a maximum 15 points against Richmond, who've slumped to 2 losses since their opening derby win against Scottish. Could be a tough day in Penzance tomorrow for them. London Irish against Bedford Blues, that's a 3 o'clock tomorrow. Unbeaten Irish hosting the Blues at the Medeski. And Yorkshire Carnegie against Nottingham, also Sunday at 3 o'clock. 8th against 7th as each look for win number 2. And we can see how the championship table is looking as we go into these fixtures as well. And, well, the table will remain slightly skewed until London Irish play that round 3 game at Jersey on the 3rd of November. But beyond that, well, Pirates are top regardless, having not left any points out there. That bottom of the table clash between Scottish and the Reds will change the look of things there, provided they don't grind out a draw, of course. And Coventry, well, as we said, they'll be pretty pleased with 6 at this stage and have no reason to really fear Hartpury this afternoon. We'll do our best to keep you updated with all those other scores as the afternoon goes on. Now, we're just a few minutes away from kick-off, but the England Rugby Snapchat, if I can say it, was taken over this week by Doncaster Knights, and we can see how Curtis Wilson got on with that.
Thank you. There you go. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in today on my takeover of England Rugby's Snapchat. It's been amazing interacting with all you guys, and I really hope you enjoyed the content that I've had to show. Be sure to tune in on Saturday at 2:30 for Doncaster Knights versus Ealing Trailfinders. It's going to be streamed live on Championship Rugby's Facebook page and England Rugby's Facebook page. Once again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and big thank you to England Rugby for giving me this opportunity. I hope you've all enjoyed it just as much as I have, and yeah.
Rugby players love having coffee. Is that all that they do?
That's 90% of it the midweeker. They don't train a huge amount, but they certainly have a lot of coffee stops.
Yeah, good. All right then, well, just ahead of kick-off, we can hear from the two coaches and find out how things have been going in preparation for this big one. Well, I'm here with Glenn Kenworthy, and Glenn, how's preparation been this week? I understand the weather's played a bit of a part.
Yeah, it was windy all day on Tuesday. Thursday was the heavens opened, and I think we had like a month's rain here in about 3 or 4 hours, so made things a wee bit tricky, but all in all, pretty good week.
Must be feeling pretty good around here with bouncing onto those victories after the opening season loss.
Yeah, the back-to-back wins was really important for us. A couple of monkeys off the back, if you want to say, especially down in Richmond. We lost them twice down last season, so yeah, we're pretty happy the way things are going.
And I understand Clive Griffiths is potentially going to be here in the stands this week.
Yeah, Clive's looking a lot fitter, and he'll be back working here pretty soon, next couple of weeks, I think.
Good. So what about taking on Ealing Trailfinders this afternoon? What do you guys need to get right?
We've got to take our opportunities is the biggest thing. Probably a wee bit guilty of that from the last couple of games. And then we're just going to try and rattle them a wee bit. They're a good team on paper, but they're not world beaters. And if we stick to our guns and stick to our process, we should be able to ruffle them at times.
And while Griff's recuperating, how are you and Paul Cook enjoying the division of responsibilities? Has much changed for you over the last couple of weeks?
Nothing's changed. We're Clive's assistants, so we'll just carry on the work that he's done in previous years.
And for those people who are tuning in this afternoon, who can they look forward to seeing? Who do you think is on decent form?
Robert Hislop, our loose head prop, he's been playing very well. Kurt Morath is back off his head injury, so we're looking for him to control the game for us. Curtis Wilson on the wing, Lloyd Hayes in the centres, Josh Terrell number 8. So we've got a few good boys who are in form at the moment, so we're looking for them to have real big games.
You mentioned a few backs there, not bad for a forwards coach. Best of luck.
Got to keep it even, don't I? All right, cheers, mate. All right.
Well, Ben, travelling up to Doncaster, it's a decent distance away. How are you boys feeling ahead of this one?
Yeah, good. We had a good win last weekend. We've had a good week's training. We had a tough result here last year, so we're looking forward to hopefully putting on a better performance.
Yeah, what sort of game do you expect at Castle Park?
It's always a tough physical game there. Their pack's renowned over the last couple of years. They've been around a long time. They're very physical. They're good at a few of the bits off the ball. We know we're going to have to be very good at what we do today.
What with the sort of shuffling of personnel over the first couple of weeks of the season, do you feel that things are a little bit more settled now?
They are. I still think with the amount of change we have, we're still finding what's our starting team, what are our best options, and we've also got a lot of good options. So it's not necessarily a case of we have a 15, we have a big squad, and we have a squad that we can rotate in, and they should be able to do the same job.
Yeah, who can we fancy looking forward to this afternoon?
I think if you look at the first couple of games, I think Geordie Reed's been very good. Pat Howe's given us some good gain line as well. It would be nice to see people like Howard Patman and James Cordy-Redding get some ball today. And again, I think just a couple of guys, Ollie Steadman obviously returning to his old club. I think I'm expecting a big performance from him today with his first start.
Yeah, and how big is this game, given that there's just a point between you guys, Cornish Pirates at the top of the table, wanting to keep in touch with those guys? It seems quite early on in the season to sort of pin this game as a big one, but it's beginning to feel that way.
I think all games are big. I think if you look at it in the league this year especially, I think teams can take points of each other at any time. But if you want to be successful, you've got to be strong at home and you've got to come away to places like this and grind out a result. So it's not so much the performance we'll be looking at today, but the result at the end of it.
Okay, well, we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So Doncaster's team then showing plenty of new faces for the 18-19 season. 7 of them in the lineup as we're almost ready to get underway. And in terms of Ealing, well, head coach Ben Ward makes 3 changes from the win against Yorkshire, all of them up front. Jake Elwood and Alan Walker keeping their places in the front row as things get underway. Doncaster, who got us restarted playing from left to right. But it's Trailfinders who concede the first penalty. Referee for this one is Matthew Carley. Well, it's a decent clearance into the corner. There is the Ealing Trailfinders lineup. As we mentioned, those changes, Elwood and Walker keep their place in the front row, joined by George Davis. Tom Denton returning in the second row, lining up alongside Ben Landry. And the back row of Captain Rain Smith, Geordie Reid and former Knight Ollie Steadman. And here come the Knights, straight up the middle with James, looking to feed the next pod, coming around the corner. Gets it away to Willie Ryan. A familiar face of Colin Quigley, what a servant, 37 years of age. Donny, centre of the park, coming to the left through Marath, the Tongan, highest point scorer in Tongan history. Doncaster just going through the phases. They've got themselves a penalty advantage here as Nick Civetta has just lost it on the floor, so we'll go back. Ollie Steadman asking a couple of questions of the referee. So looking for the option to take 3 points early in the game, and it'll be Kurt Marath to step up. Marath, no problem whatsoever, gets the first points on the board. Doncaster off to a decent start with the early penalty. We will be hearing from Rob Vickerman in due course, just sorting out a little audio issue. Craig Willis. Just far over into that left corner. Want to get the exits right. Make sure they get the right platform set. That one comes down on the near side. Ball is down. Oh, it wasn't the easiest of pickups for Pat Howard. He's done really well. And then Geordie Reid with the carry. Australian has been a really bright light for Ealing Trailfinders. Chatted to Ben Ward during the week about the Australian's carrying ability and the threat that he poses. Now they come to the right again, through Willis again. It was a man and ball hit, and the knock-on will give the Trailfinders the advantage as Patman plays it back in field to George Davis. First start for the young man. Willis again, look for that ball on the outside. Lydon then with that left boot, with the little chip forwards. Tom James under plenty of pressure, just avoided that first tackle and has done well to set up the platform, despite the attentions of the Trailfinders.
We already see the impact, Nick, how influential it can be now when you've got that big carrying 12, Pat Howard already making an impression into this game. And now Doncaster showing a little bit of shape, using their big men and tactically kicking on point.
Steadman. Back in field for Lydon. Once again, they'll have to come from the back. And just a knock on will bring us back. So Morath just waiting down left hand side. Decent early push from Doncaster and they will get the penalty reward from it.
Oh, and look at the celebrations all around there, the crowd getting behind it, big men up front doing their jobs. Domination, many times you see it up here at Castle Park. The influence that their big front row can have on games is significant, even with that list here is normally one of the stalwarts.
Yeah, big statement made by the home side. Looking to try and nudge it down into this right-hand corner.
And it is such a quality of Steve McCall's that he always finds meters on these penalty kicks. Often you see games where people go for a bit of a safety, kick it 15, 20 yards. He really does ask questions, gets to that corner, and now it's gone from an attacking platform to potential try-scoring platform, and that is all down to Steve McCall's boot.
Yeah, notched up 18 points so far for his new club. With the changes that came in the pack from last week, the Scotsman James Malcolm at hooker for the injured Ben Hunter, and in the second row it's Tom Hicks who's dropped to the bench, with Matt Challoner taking on the captaincy duties, partnering with Savetta. They're expecting the back row to be a decent threat. Another former Trailfinders man in Willie Ryan making his fourth straight start to face his old club. Go forward, stop momentarily. So Morath, he's only got two options outside of him, so he's had to take the contact. Wilson helps him out. Now they come running round on the outside. Lewis Jones. And in there, nearly breaking his way through is Creed, who we spoke about at the top of the show. One of the smaller men on the field. Might not have the height, but he's broad enough. But it's penalty Trailfinders.
And it's Steadman, big man you mentioned, number 8 for Ealing. Well versed in the championship, one of these players who's been at a few clubs in this level, and he really is a force at the breakdown. Such a big man.
Yeah, signed from Carnegie. As a former Doncaster man, and the likes of London Welsh as well, as Wumperkeman says. Been around a few clubs. Got 25 minutes last week. One of those uncompromising faces that you will find plenty of in the Championship.
Yeah, and they'll know him inside and out of this Doncaster team.
Good take from Ealing, away from Luke Carter. Sending Craig Willis in, and then Carter on the support line again, and that's nice work away from Howard. And Howard finds Packman, who's come across from the right wing, doing a good job of keeping it alive here through Tom Denton again. They've got the numbers queuing up on this short side. It had to be a really important man and ball hit from McCall, and it was. Denton. It's the 22. Away to the right they go. Oh, and that's nicely striding through from Ollie Steadman. We talk about him, and he takes his place in the foreground. Long ball over to the right. Packman wants to try and run around in the corner. Has he done well enough to keep that ball in field? He has. Trailfinders back in field. Carter again. Steadman. Alan Walker got there, perhaps thought about the little pick himself. Now Geordie Reid was in at 6 last week, moved to 7 to make way for Steadman coming in at 8. Allowing Rayne Smith to slip back with the captain's armband into that blindside position. Now Carter again. Steadman will just be provider this time. Then the chip over the corner into no man's land as far as the defence was. And it's a try for James Cordy-Redden. Really nicely worked and pretty calmly done as well.
That's an astute kick. He knew the space was out there. It all came from that first few phases. Steve McCall. There's going to be space out wide. We're talking 20 metres of space, and the game is increasingly becoming tighter. It's really well executed, not an easy kick, and Cordy-Redden benefited from that. Lovely touch from Willis.
Third try of the season for James Cordy-Redden. One against Irish, one against Carnegie. Ben Ward saying during the week that he's one of those players who's pretty good in the air. He almost didn't have to jump for that one. All the time in the world. Leiden, 17 points against Carnegie last week. Trailfinders on the board. Decent nudge as well. Nicely done from Leiden.
See that big bar there? 7-3, hit it.
Spoke during the week, Glenn Kenworthy, about how important it is to try and stop Ealing getting a really good start. That opening quarter, if they can deny them points, deny them the belief, then perhaps get into them after that. The Trailfinders are away again here. They've got the first try. Now they're looking to try and continue that. Luke Carter, oh my goodness, the tackling hasn't been good enough against Carter. The pass wasn't good enough on that occasion to find Cordy-Redden, but what a break from the scrum half. Now they're back in field. Doncaster Knights back under their own posts again. Back to the short side from Tom James. Steadman. Off to the right, now they're going for the chip over the top. Cordy-Redden takes it. Over on that far side, then there's a foot in, and well, that's not allowed. Referee's given the penalty at the side, but Lloyd Hayes perhaps a little lucky that it wasn't anything more, because that's certainly an area around the ruck that referees are going to be pretty hot on this season.
Well, it all comes from the break. Not quite sure what Zavetta was doing at first. Another missed tackle there. Jarvis falls off him. McCall on the floor. James comes across and still falls off him. It was almost a bit of a worldie. Going near 70 metres from his own 22. Lovely carving run from Carter. But now again, another opportunity for Ealing to show their dominance at line out. Now Tom Denton will be leading this line out. Keeping it tight, driving it forward.
Straight down the middle they come again. Packman popping up in the middle, looking to involve the wingers, and Cordy Redden and Packman are switching sides on those wings regularly, and they're still making ground through the middle. Oh my goodness, what a try that is from Lewis Jones. Just wouldn't be put down, and well, at the minute, defensively speaking, Doncaster Knights have got some questions to answer, Rob Vickerman.
They have indeed. Speaking of which, one man I'm sure watching this somewhere will be Clive Griffiths. There's some good reports of his health improving, not here because of heart conditions, and he will be tearing what little hair he's got in his head out because it's just these first up tackles. I'd like to say how magnificent the footwork was from Jones, but it's not. He just runs straight through Morath, absolutely one line, little bit of a spin pirouette. Okay, he doesn't give up, which is always good to see, but it's not complicated. It's just that physicality, it's that first up tackling, and if you're not doing it, you're going to concede.
Another decent kick from Lydon. Ealing Trailfinders up to 14.
Oh, disappointing heads. You know the big forwards are not happy. It's a horrible position to be in as a back because you look across to the big men inside you and they give you almost like the disapproving dad look. Tilt the head slightly and shake it, and you know you've not done well enough.
Morath with the restart. Down to the right hand side. Steadman, that nonchalant look at the defence with the ball in one hand, inviting the contact. Carter will take his time. The 27-year-old scrum half joined a couple of seasons ago, sends Packman after that. Oh, it wasn't the easiest take. Frustration. You can see the lines across the Doncaster jerseys with the Championship Cup. One of those that's going to be trialling the new law with regards tackle height underneath the armpit. Well, Doncaster have already made a shirt with a line on it. Can help the officials. I'm told it wasn't deliberate.
Some forwards would suggest theirs is a little bit lower than others, but we're not going to why that might well be.
Colin Quigley's not going to thank you for that, Rob Vickerman.
I didn't say names, Nick, that was you.
Don't forget you can keep in touch with us wherever you're watching. We would love to hear from you. Penalty Ealing as the Doncaster front row don't manage to stay square over on that far side. Penalty given against Robin Hislop.
Well, he was bent over double in that scrum there. You could see his head almost down the knees of the second rowers. That must have been some impact. You don't get it right, you've got what? Over 500 kilograms pushing you one way, you're only going to go down.
In another threatening position. They certainly wouldn't want it to be 3 tries in this opening quarter. That's not what Glenn Kenworthy was on about, but it's going to be a scrum to Doncaster. Didn't quite get the lines right. If you would like to keep in contact with us, then well, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe you've got a question for Rob Vickerman, who's with us on our live streaming coverage. Get in touch with us wherever you might be watching the live stream across the world. It's #ChampRugby. We would love to get your thoughts at half-time. We can have a little look through whatever you sent through to us. Championship stuff if you've got it. What spices you should be putting in your chicken casserole otherwise.
Can we invite puns or not? Love a good pun.
Yeah, sure. The best puns you've got. #ChampRugby across Twitter. You can leave some comments via the Facebook page as well if that's where you're watching our live stream this afternoon. Greene King IPA Championship Rugby live from Castle Park. And Doncaster already 11 points behind. I'm not a northerner, so they are going to remain Doncaster than Doncaster today. So for the Knights fans across the world that are from Yorkshire, my apologies. But in honour of you all, I did have a decent plate of chicken and chips when I arrived.
You got to mention the gravy. Nick.
There was a lot of gravy. Well, curry sauce, to be fair. I mean, what's not to like? 2 tries so far then for the Trailfinders. Cordy Redden and Lewis Jones as well. Doncaster conceded 13 penalties last week. It's now the game that they want to be a little whiter than white, give themselves the best opportunity at the minute. They're just were struggling to keep territory once they get out of their 22. They earned themselves a penalty that time. They conceded a penalty down at the other end where the front rows just couldn't cope with it, but when they're on their mettle, they're certainly putting a fair bit of pressure through that Ealing scrum.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Pretty much a yo-yoing type scrum at the moment. Hislop gets that hit, he looks pretty strong, solid. Not the biggest of props, you can see him in shot there, just left of the Steve McCall, the kicker, having a bit of a debate. When you don't have that out-and-out bulk, you've got to be really accurate with your technique, and clearly when he gets it right, they get the penalties. And we saw from the last one when he got it wrong, he went really wrong. A decent touch finder again, McCall. He belies his age, 29. Really impressive player, so good in fact when he was playing Championship at Carnegie he got called up for the Six Nations squad for Scotland, so you know that's the type of acumen he has. Just didn't quite kick on perhaps in the Premiership, to the Knight hiding behind them. Want to see more of McCall.
Absolutely, plenty of talent throughout the Championship, and here comes Doncaster down the near side. The ball back in field was a little bit hurried from Willie Ryan. Needed to hold on to that because it was great yards, well made. But it's just given back to Ealing, who will fancy the chances to try and spring a counter-attack. We've seen a couple of them from their own 22, but maybe it's just going to be the cultured left peg of Lydon that will boot towards the near touchline and take the line out. Claire Daniels, the assistant, will mark it. But it just needed a bit of composure from Doncaster. We heard from Glenn Kenworthy before the game talking about how he wanted his team to take their opportunities. That was one, and it was given up.
The question is, did he call for it? Of course he did. You're an inside tracking runner, you're always going to shout for it. There, Walker most definitely calling for that inside ball, gets it. Good break, and now Lydon again, just showing how effortlessly he kicks that ball with that left foot, now back in Doncaster territory.
Willie Ryan as well is an ex-Trailfinders man, so he may have recognised the voice calling for the ball on his inside. Just forgotten that he shouldn't be giving it. Here they come again through Howard, but he's knocked it on, and his opposite number, Creed, will pick it up, but then they give it away again. Referee is going to stop them. There wasn't a sufficient knock-on advantage taken. Nearly, though. You get used to referees blowing those knock-on advantages over pretty quickly.
A little bit messy. Howard just tries to hit a bit of an outline, which is nice to see. Bear in mind we said how direct and physical he can be, mixing up his game. But on the outside line, you need to make sure you watch the ball. You can tell he's frustrated. That gliding line, it's a lovely line to hit as a centre because you beat the man just by waiting that extra second for the ball to go across you, and then you hit in space with men running straight outside.
Just the little Knight lurking in the distance. It's Willie Ryan who's maybe getting a bit of attention at the minute. Back into the action. Joined this summer from Ealing, as I said, where he was for 2 years. Former Rotherham man as well. Plenty of former Titans on show across both sides this afternoon.
The appeal of South Yorkshire.
Absolutely. Scrum's not moving anywhere to begin with. Tom Jones wants to get this away, which now he will have the opportunity to do. Players calling for it on the back. Morath wanting to get the opportunity to send it back in field. Oh, it's decent running. Shipped on by Josh Tyrrell. Civetta has the support run with him. Decent tackle from Ben Landry. Tom James, scorer of that intercept try last week, wants the ball, gets the penalty.
Well, part of me wants to really commend Willis there for being a fly half who's not scared to shirk it in the breakdown. But if you get your hands on the ball, that clearly, whilst the ruck has formed, so when two people are competing over the top of it, that's when you've got to get your hands out of it. And they're just all too easy for the referee to ping him for it. And again, it's Steve McCall who will no doubt push for these extra inches on this touchline.
And that which he has done. Little look to the assistant. I think he fancied a few more yards out of Mr. Spooner, but
I do love that when they start shaking their head, getting really upset about it, as though the linesmen are just going to say, actually, yeah, I'll give you a few more metres.
Yeah,
of course.
They're always hoping it's going to be caught on a big screen maybe, and that next time they'll get a bit more out of them, but such it is. Ball goes in. Oh, but it's not straight. Ealing Trailfinders ask for the option. They fancy the line out themselves. Don't forget, hashtag Champ Rugby. We'd love to hear from you. We have had a question in from Gregory Pettit. We will get to that at half time. But if you want to get in touch with us, hashtag Champ Rugby. Ask your questions to Rob Vickerman, who's with us. Rain Smith brings it down. Trailfinder skipper, South African move from Bristol last year. Box kick from Carter. It was a decent competition in the air from both wingers. It's down from Lloyd Hayes. Now away from James. Back in field to Tyrrell. Samoan international. He'll do that carrying for them all day long. Haven't seen him in too much space to make those yards so far. Morath again goes all the way to the wing, and Curtis Wilson, who we saw a little bit of in that England Rugby Snapchat takeover. James away again. Quigley ducks his shoulder and gets into that low body position. The veteran prop looking to try and get those gain line yards over the halfway line. James again fizzes it away to Morath. A little bit more depth and dynamism on this one, and through Creed into that channel where Trailfinders are going to try and hold them up here and force that turnover. Doncaster get good go forward. Have they got the ball to ground and get it back though? No, they haven't. And it will result in Trailfinders possession. That was a little better from the home side.
Yeah, it's class play from the centres there. Jones and Howard really does sap your strength trying to wrestle in those situations, keeping the ball alive, keeping it upright. Such strength from them both. One targeting the man, another one on the ball. And shifted across, lovely bit of movement. McCall gets an inside step, and here that's what it's about. As soon as you can target the ball, and Howard comes in to support that body weight. Really is outstanding defence from the Ealing centres there.
Hashtag Champ Rugby to keep in touch with us. Let us know maybe who you think has been playing well in the game. Any questions about what you're seeing as well? If any of areas of the law are confusing you, then well, between Rob Vickerman and myself, we can do our best to demystify what isn't always the most straightforward game, let's be honest.
Love the fact you said law as well, Nick. Bit of a bugbear when people say rules, it's laws.
Yeah. It's a law book.
Bit of a spin on the sideline as you do. Teams now with the bikes down the side, just keeping that blood rate flowing around the body. Get a few calories down you as well, you can earn a few more sweets.
A few more chips and gravy. It's away from Carter. Oh, it's not. It's going to be Steadman, in fact, who plays it away. Carry for those key yards. Pat Howard, scorer of that fourth try to get the bonus point in the 50th minute in that win over Carnegie last week. Chases on down this near side. McCall just does the basics well, makes a few key yards. And Challoner Big campaigner, second start of the season, having been on the bench for the last two. Matt Challoner has got the captain's armband in the absence of Michael Hills. And a good duo carry. Quigley in there to help provide the platform. Oh, that was miscommunication. It was meant to go to Hislop, I think, but he didn't know an awful lot about it. And McCall has work to do to come back in field. Now he needs support. Support comes crashing off his feet. Chivetta needs to be careful the referee doesn't spot that. It's just lacking a bit of structure at the minute from the Knights. Long ball over the top was well held over on the far side. Packman throws his body in there to try and help slow things down, but it's with James. Morath again. Somebody needs to take this and get them over the gain line, because it's a little bit lateral from the Knights. Over to the far side and back again. Morath, Quigley. Movement off the ball is not the strongest, and the first man in for Ealing has turned it around, and it's instant attacking ball. Well, it would have been if they could have held on to it. What do the Knights need to be doing better there, Rob?
Well, someone else needs to carry at the moment. Challoner is absolutely racking up the numbers. Accounted 4 carries there in that last sequence of phases. Really impressive from the big man, but you just got to run at the spaces. It sounds simple. If you have to absorb 2 defenders rather than 1, it means there's going to be space elsewhere. At the moment, Ealing not particularly competing to break down, which means that they've got a whole line of defenders just waiting for these round the corner runners. Same pattern, easy to defend. Doncaster at their most potent when they get the phase play, get the backs running in the open space. At the moment they're not, partly down to the outstanding defence from Ealing, a little bit down to the lack of attacking execution from Doncaster.
It's the voice of Rob Vickerman, who is with us, former Carnegie man himself and Newcastle Falcons, and a fair bit of time with England Sevens as well. Colin Quigley, signed 4 years ago, brought back by Clive Griffiths. Defies the years.
37. There's just been a game going on before this across the back there. Donny Phoenix, I think Yorkshire 3, Yorkshire 4, and probably are similar age to him. It really is impressive that he's still doing it at this level and regularly puts in 80 minutes. He really is an outstanding rugby player.
Doncaster go with it. Challoner again with another carry. Tom James, joined last summer from Bedford, looks to try and keep them going. Home fans don't like the man on the wrong side. Referee Matt Carley isn't going to look at it. Or is he? No. Well, that was poor execution, and it's just given the line out.
That's a terrible kick. It really does frustrate the forwards in particular, and the crowd as we see them not liking that. You're going to kick to the corners as a 9, that's fine. You've got more space there. Usually the wingers are up, so there's plenty of room to do so because they're expecting to attack. So you've got round about a 15 square metre area to hit, and to overcook that by 5 or 10 just not good enough.
It's as if he thought there was a penalty advantage, but there certainly wasn't, even if the crowd might have wanted one. Reid, lovely work from him to find the offload for Howard. Howard punching those holes in a way that Doncaster have failed to do so far, and that's really nice footwork from Carter, keeping the ball alive. Brilliant from Ealing Trailfinders. It's going to be Lydon with the try, and it's 3 tries in 30 minutes for Ealing Trailfinders.
And as we saw last week, they start games so well. They were the similar point difference against Carnegie because of the way that they attack. Absolute juxtaposition worth seeing here about how effective they can be with the ball compared to Doncaster. And again, it's Carter just looking so effortless when he's got the ball. Known for his strategic kicking as a 9, which we saw many times this season. Here, it's just how he takes people on. A really subtle ball change. Jarvis comes in and absolutely belts him for his troubles, but he'll not be bothered because he pops it off the line to do the easy bit. And that was all about Carter.
Lydon played a season at Stade Francais alongside the likes of Jules Plisson, Monet Stein. He was 6th in the kicking ranks after round 3. He's getting a steal on a few others.
I bet he had a good game of kicking tennis with Franz Stein. He's got a monumental boot, but Lydon's not. He's not too far off. He kicks it so far.
slots another one. 11 points already under the belt in this one.
Latchell running from a 9, so difficult. Challoner held up because of the lines on the inside. That little ball change for me, what that's all about. It means you can swat down that approaching tackle. Really good play. Carter's looking sensational with ball in hand. He's unlocking this defence at will.
Morath, bit of miscommunication. Packman is going to be the one who takes it. Steadman often the one to do so. Little dummy from Packman, that worked out nicely for him. Doncaster want to try and drag him into touch, but they're not going to get the chance as it's away again from Carter. They've gone for a little bit of depth here as the back line from Doncaster was a little higher. Now Morath got plenty of time to look at this one and make the clearance from his 22. He'll get the line out on the far 10-metre line.
Solid net game there. Willis playing the longer game. Kick it long. Get Morath to go back. He seeks the safety of the touchline, but he's gained about 30 metres for his trouble. Really good tactic.
You often get people frustrated with that clearance, that kick downfield. We had ball in hand, but they've made a safe 30 metres, as Rob Vickerman says. Little pump of the ball from Craig Willis. Willis, of course, who came from Newcastle Falcons. Familiarity with the artificial playing surface at Vallis Way. It's just the grass and mud today. Colin Quigley has appealed as to whether there was a knock-on as the man came in to make the hit. Quigley was looking for one of those quick tip-ons. Just a sense that when Doncaster think it might be worth trying to plumb the outside channels, they're not earning the right to get there just by flinging the ball. It's allowing the Ealing defence just to drift.
There's a really good shot there of no one competes at the breakdown, which means you have to do things like the kick, like the ball's wide. It's speculative. Sometimes it works, but you give away the ball.
Lydon takes it without too much pressure. Ben Landry, USA international, tried to build up a head of steam there, but he was well met. Jarvis. Cut back infield. Wilson. Jarvis has remained down on that far side. Then the little pop back infield. That's better from Challoner. And then Hislop, who's well downed by Denton. And digging again is James. There's a penalty advantage now. Morath trying to hold the man in field is Lloyd Hayes, and now they go away. Ball back in field to Hayes again. If only you could have found James once more. James again. Morath. They look to keep going the same way. Cut back in field. Elliot Creed came off the bench last week. He's in that centre position ahead of Joel Matavesi. Challoner is there to be the one to get the ball away to James Malcolm. In the shadow of the post, this some of the best continuity and yards that the Knights have made over the course of this first half. They need to try and maintain possession and keep going forward as Hislop goes again. Fourth straight start on his return, having initially been here a couple of years ago, but then they lose the ball forwards. They will get the penalty, and is this going to be a chance for Doncaster to, well, consider doubling their total, or will they try and look for a little more, knowing how far behind they are already? Decisions.
He's going to go for the corner, just try and get that platform known for their driving line out, albeit they've lost a couple under pressure. Missing Hunter, who's known for his accurate line-out skills, but McCall again get him just 5 yards away. It's not a difficult thing for these guys. They're so versed with this driving line-out.
James Malcolm, the man who was in that senior squad for the Six Nations, needs to get it right. They go to the middle, and they're happy enough with it. Ball brought down and transferred. Now they get the drive on. They certainly look good at scrum time. Now they look good at the maul as well, and it will be a try for Malcolm. And that will give Doncaster some positive confidence ahead of half-time. If they can find themselves a few more platforms like that, well, the game might start to turn.
Outstanding again from this Doncaster forward pack. So many times you say that at Castle Park. The reason why it's an intimidating place to play is because of how effective these forwards can be in situations like that. They get the platform, all important that the line-out was accurate. It's not been previously. Ealing not competing against it, so made it a little bit easier for Challoner. And you can see how the Ealing forwards just separating slightly, Denton trying to pull them round, which means that the space is straight through the guts of it. And if you've got 5 men pushing in one direction, you are simply not going to stop them.
It's about raising that question of doubt as well for Ealing, as far as Doncaster go, because Ealing with 3 tries, they'll now be looking for that 4th try bonus, but Doncaster can remind them that they need to have their wits about them defensively as well. Might just make them reconsider all about their go forward. Morath then notched up 13 points against Hartpury. Can he add 2 to the 3 he got earlier on? Just pushes that one past the left hand upright. Doncaster Knights 8, Ealing Trailfinders 21 as we approach half time.
Just forward efficiency. Challoner, the spearhead of the maul, and celebrations all round. An outstanding set piece score.
Good carry from Ryan. Taking them outside their 22 though. And they get the signal from the referee that that will be half time. And so there it is. Well, we've had a fair few tries in that first half. Opened by Morath from the penalty, but then 3 tries from Ealing Trailfinders and James Malcolm. Then getting one for Doncaster Knights, which will keep things interesting as we go into the second half. Half-time score, Doncaster Knights 8, Ealing Trailfinders 21. And well, Rob Vickerman, your thoughts on that first half?
It was really a case of Ealing's tempo when they had the ball being the absolute story of that first half. And it really was impressive to see how they can oscillate that tempo when they wanted to go quick, and that structure, it looked great. Craig Willis pulling the strings at will, a couple of kicks, asking the questions, which ultimately ended up to score. I think Doncaster, when they did have the ball, looked to depth, but because they couldn't keep that tempo, they couldn't play at the right time. They were almost 1 or 2 phases behind when they should have gone. So for me, the story's all about Ealing's dominance in attack and defence.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the tries then from that first half. And it opened with the first one, which was well, a cross-field kick effort, having drawn in that Doncaster defence.
Yeah, you can see McCall trying to charge it down. If your winger's in field, the space is going to be out wide.
Corey Redden.
Lovely little touch there. Bit of a set piece, mate. You can tell they've been talking about how Doncaster defence, if you know you've got that space, that width, players holding shape, it's up to your 10 to find it with this little right foot cross kick. Lovely shot, lovely score.
Well, game at that point, well, then from Lydon's conversion was 7-3 to the Trailfinders, and well, the pressure kept on coming as well. Jones came straight through the middle, and well, we were asking questions of the defence here, weren't we?
Yeah, Morath is an international fly half. You can't be missing tackles like this. Just falls off all too easily. Jones just shrugs him off. Initially takes that hit around the chest, around the ball, uses that as a bit of a bumper. Just too easy. You can see how hard the Doncaster Knights have worked when Ealing have had the ball. And it comes down to one real simple error, and that's how simple it can be in rugby. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And seemingly another moment of questionable defence perhaps, but take nothing away from the abilities of Ealing really getting in behind. Lovely offload, and Leiden finishes it off. Carter's he's been so good with ball in hand, and that little fend, that left push away from Wilson just means he can pop the ball up. Jarvis tries to shut it down. Another case of Ealing capitalising on poor Doncaster defence.
Another little nice bit of a look at the footwork of Carter, just managing to find his way through there and ask a few more questions, and a very nice job of that. They did too. But then, keeping it interesting, with Ealing at 21-3 at half-time, it would have looked very different, but Doncaster have managed to get a score from this rolling maul, and if they can find a few more of these in the second half, then Trailfinders will have some questions.
Yeah, and it was a couple of key moments in that first half where the line-out wasn't won in a similar position, because you are not at Castle Park watching Doncaster unless you're mentioning driving line-outs. They're so effective at this. It's such a dominant part of their game. They get the platform, they will score. It's just about getting that platform.
Bit of half-time show from the cheerleaders here at Castle Park. And don't forget, we would still love to hear from you. We will be having a look in just a minute at #ChampRugby to find out what questions you've got in for this man, Rob Vickerman. Let's hear what you've got. Maybe it's some questions about the championship or some other exciting part of your life that you'd like Rob to comment on. #ChampRugby on Twitter, and if you're watching on YouTube, get on Twitter, send us that comment. #ChampRugby. Have I said it enough times? I think I probably have. We can have a look at the highlights from last week in terms of the tries that went down. We call them the try-lights. That's how clever we are. And it's a chance to see, well, you can find out which one won try of the match this week. I'll tell you afterwards, but let's have a look at them first of all. Go. So we had Billy Robinson, that training ground move, 4 tries to beat Scottish for the first win of the season. Harry Davis, the replacement from Ed Coulson's crossfield kick, and Dan Tem, that first one from Carnegie, the man of the match in round 2 when we were at Headingley, the offload by Andy Forsyth. The winner with 38% of the vote was the Nottingham try, Billy Robinson. That nice training ground move. Incidentally, some other results to give you so far, or in fact that are going on currently. London Scottish 20, Jersey Reds 24, both of those sides looking for their first win, of course, in the Greene King IPA Championship. And then we have Hartbury College 14, Coventry Rugby 7. So Coventry with 2 wins on the bounce so far. They would love to get a third. There's just a rundown of those fixtures as things stand on the Saturday. And of course, we've got a couple of games taking place tomorrow. Well, 3, Pirates Richmond, London Irish Bedford Blues, and Yorkshire Carnegie against Nottingham. Well, this week was rather an historic one, with news that England's women, the Red Roses, are to be given full-time contracts for their 15-a-side team from January. Wonderful news to hear that. Well, we can hear from the Director of Professional Rugby, Nigel Melville, and the Head of Women's Performance, Nikki Ponsford, explaining a little bit more about it.
Well, very proud day, I think, for the RFU, and a great step forward for us. We talked about this after the Rugby World Cup and said, look, we do need to move this forward. We've got a lot of things to do. We need to build a player pool, introduce a new competition, look at that women's girls programme, double the number of women playing, and also set up some professional contracts for our women's 15s team, and I think we've achieved that.
Our stated ambition is to try and win the World Cup in 2021. We want to put ourselves in the best position we possibly can to do that. So having more access to the players having more time to train, more time to rest, recover, and be in the best place they can possibly be, helps us with that ambition.
I think New Zealand and France have shown the way a little bit, and we're along with them now. A lot of Olympic funding went into the Sevens game across the world. We didn't get that, but we kept up to speed, and it's a really big challenge for us. But 15's contracts was the next step, and we're really excited to talk about these contracts and move forward.
Great news for England's women then, and well, as far as the Quilter Internationals are concerned for the Red Roses, match 1 is against the USA. Friday the 9th of November, that's at Allianz Park. Make sure you get your tickets for that, 7:45 kickoff. Then match 2, we'll be back here at Castle Park for their match against Canada women, Sunday the 18th of November at 2 o'clock. Be great to see you down here. And match 3, they take on Ireland women. Be interesting to see where the Irish are now after, well, what was a disappointing home World Cup campaign in 2017. Sunday the 24th of November, 5:40. That will be after the men's game at Twickenham. Get in there for free. You can get your tickets eticketing.co.uk/RFU. Now, I think I may have a couple of questions for you from Champ Rugby, Rob Vickerman, you lucky man. So Gregory Pettit, who came to us earlier, what do you think of the Championship Cup competition? He seems to like the idea of a renewed John Player Cup. That's going back a little bit.
That is going back a fair while. I'm surprised on Twitter, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know what Bebo or MySpace is coming with that one. But
Yeah.
I think it's a really impressive league. I think that for me, at the moment, it's a little bit of a split standard. That's what frustrates me a little bit. That if you actually engage with how good this tournament could be, it's a very exciting prospect. Now, interestingly, the Welsh model is slightly different. They've made equivalent of this level under 23 as a league. Now, that interesting debate to be had perhaps, but I think in terms of the future international for England players, this is the breeding ground. So a lot of Saracens players have all come through dual qualification of having that exposure to this rugby, because you can see it's expansive rugby, it's entertaining rugby. The ball is in play for large amounts of the time, and you're not talking the type of levels of intensity of the Premiership. Now, I think this needs to be adopted more by other clubs. I know we've looked at a loan model, that buddy system that Nigel Melville tried to introduce. Didn't perhaps work, with a little bit of favouritism for teams getting more players than others. But for me, it is a wonderful breeding ground for the next generation of England players.
Yeah.
The thing that frustrates me, just to finalise with this, but is what happens post England 20s. Because often players will go into a Premiership environment, be happy holding a bag, taking a salary for it, but actually not playing rugby. This is where you get better, and this is why it's a great tournament.
Yeah, in terms of that Championship Cup competition in particular, it's where we've got the new laws being trialled for this height of the tackle, that sort of thing, underneath the armpit level. We've seen a lot of stuff. We know that where the Premiership was concerned, Jordan Murphy came out and thought it was, you know, he made his comments about it being a bit PC, about all of the looks at player welfare, but I think he's sort of retracted those comments towards the end of the week and said, actually, you know, I think I was probably wrong in what I said. I was a bit hot-headed, and a few more people are beginning to realise that in the modern environment, the game's not gone too soft. You can hear the collisions out here. There's no chance the game's gone soft, but perhaps these players do need a little bit of protection from themselves.
Yeah, they do, definitely, and why not try that and see where it gets to. What people need to see is a prolonged exposure of these revised laws to see what impact it can have. So I know, pretty vocal on Twitter, Ross Tucker talks about the science behind it all, and he actually says that this is largely to reduce the tackler, not the ball carrier. So reducing the height of the tackle means that the statistics show there's going to be less concussions. You're 4 times more likely to get concussed as a tackler from staying high, and that is irrefutable evidence. And until we see that length of time in that environment, and that's why the cup, when it comes around, will be a good thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Do let us know your thoughts on that. Hashtag Champ Rugby across Twitter. We've got another one here. Is there any truth in the rumour Roman Abramovich is going to buy Nottingham Rugby Club?
Why not? It might get him a visa, who knows? It could be one way in.
Whatever you need. We've also got a nice picture here. I can't show you this one, but or maybe I can try. A little, there we are. That's a cap on a nice table there. From someone who's watching our live coverage in Jamaica.
This is why it's so great, isn't it? That we are broadcasting truly to the world here. Now, most of the feeds you can't get that coverage. So to hear these things, it's great.
Yeah, over their breakfast. How lovely. Well, I think that we can actually catch up with Ben Ward at half-time here, and he's with Nathan Middleton. Let's hear from the Ealing Trailfinders Director of Rugby.
Ben, a really good half from your side. What did you make of it? What's been the half-time messages?
Just a bit more discipline. I felt we're giving away a few penalties, where, especially around the middle third of the field, to give them territory. We know they want to drive the line out, so from our side we've got to stay a bit more disciplined there, and probably just keep hold of the ball a little bit, play in the right areas when it's the right time. But we've probably both sides just a few too many mistakes. When we're playing well, I thought we've caused them some problems. We've taken advantage of a few of the things we spoke about in the week, the little cross fields and some space in the backfield.
3 tries though, and 3 clinical tries. You must be pleased with kind of that side of your game.
Yeah, when we've been in those areas, I thought we've come away with points. Once or twice we've maybe given the ball away cheaply, but in general, when we've kept the ball, I thought we've caused them problems within 3 to 4 phases.
Thank you very much for your time. Best of luck.
In our live streaming coverage, we've got plenty more to come over the next few weeks and months. Next weekend, first of our double headers. Richmond against Hartpury College in the Greene King IPA Championship, followed by Richmond women against Saracens. That should prove to be an absolute humdinger of a game, so we're looking forward to bringing you that one. Myself and Nathan Middleton across those two games. Then Saturday, October the 13th, Loughborough Lightning against Bristol Bears women, another one from the Tyrrell's Premier 15s competition. Then Saturday, October the 20th, another double header down at Hartpury College against Jersey Reds in the Greene King IPA Championship, followed by Gloucester Hartpury against Worcester Valkyries, and that is in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s, the 4:30 kickoff after the 2:30. And then, as we mentioned a few moments ago, Red Roses against Canada women, that one here at Castle Park, Sunday, November the 18th, a 2 o'clock kickoff. Really looking forward to seeing that one as Ealing start to come out for the start of the second half. Rob Vickerman with Glenn Kenworthy saying, chatting to me during the week about how important it is that Doncaster avoid Ealing getting that fast start. They didn't manage to achieve that mission, but the fact that they managed to get that catch and drive towards the end of the first half, you've got to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and go for a bit more of that, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they've been saying. The first half, there were 2 poor executions of a line-out in the Ealing 22, so they know they get the platform down there, and certainly Steve McCall's boot, there's a chance of that from penalties, but you'd have to say, in terms of the fitness and physicality of this Ealing team, it's looking like it's their game to lose.
Voice of former Leeds and Newcastle centre Rob Vickerman, who's with us on our live streaming coverage on championshiprugby.co.uk and on the England Rugby YouTube channel as well. Great to have you with us. So Doncaster Knights 8, Ealing Trailfinders 21. And it is Ealing to get us restarted from left to right. Oh, it's a really good take, and McCollar's away. He did a bit of support, but we'll be very happy with how that restart happened and was dealt with. He had the opportunity to pop that up to Colin Quigley, didn't take it. Back away, bit of miscommunication again, but it hasn't worked out too badly. James again, Quigley. They might have had numbers up on the far side if they could have got it through, but Calladine decides to just keep it in hand, and they go again down the far side. 8 metres infield. James again. Spoke during the week about backing themselves to come from behind. They've done it in 2 games, so they are going to have to do it again here. Oh, that's lovely footwork. And then the ball away to Tom James again, and James will offload to Marath, but Marath couldn't hold it. And it's counter-attack opportunity for the Trailfinders, and they come stealing through the middle with Packman, and Packman's going to try and find his way all the way to the corner, but the cover tackling comes across from Curtis Wilson, joining last year after his early season, playing a bit with Sheffield Eagles. Then it's loose again out the back from Trailfinders. That looks for a moment like it might have been a decent turnover, but in fact from the knock-on it will be the scrum to Doncaster. End-to-end stuff.
Wow, what a start to this second half. Outstanding. Now, you mentioned the word nonchalant, talking about this just ushers him slightly toward the edge, and then Wilson comes in with a tackle, and then Steadman in the background, he picks the ball up with his big old paw, and as he starts casually strolling around, gets knocked out of his hand. That's the turnover. What an inroad from Packman. Good cover, good desperation, and poor from Steadman.
Somewhere amongst all this lot will be Clive Griffiths. We haven't quite managed to locate him yet.
I'm not sure he quite endure a game just yet. If your heart's not in the greatest health, you do not want to be coming to watch Doncaster play. I think his times of pure emotion sometimes jumps up, ruptured an Achilles previously from celebrating at the end of the game.
He has done, yeah.
He certainly lives with his emotions on show, doesn't he?
Well, it's very good to hear this week that after his heart attack there is no permanent damage done, so it's great news. He is one of the great characters of the Championship, hugely important to the fortunes of Doncaster Knights over the last several years. So we wish him well in his continued recovery. Andrew Duratalo is coming into the mix. Away from Donny. Good yards from Tyrrell. Needed the support arriving at a little bit more pace. It was a little flat-footed, and James looks to the left to Hislop. Competing with Richard List for that loose head prop position. James again. Pretty well.
It's a nice clearance. Anytime you get near the halfway line, lovely box kick going over the top. Chan will be happy with that as he walks forward.
Right in front of our centre line camera, and then Duratalo with the carry. Doncaster Knights won't like the look of him coming onto the field, the USA international. He was very generous in putting Pat Howard in for his score last week following a super break. 5 tries in 6 games at the start of last season. So good that he ended up swanning off to Worcester, but he's back.
It's a fantastic signing. He really is a quality player, Duratalo. Hopefully boosting the figures to people watching in the USA, because he's held in high regard across there, and rightly so. Fantastic footballer, really is.
And of course Ben Landry, the second row, favourite of Gary Gold, the USA coach, thinks he's pretty much the best that the USA have got, enjoying his first taste of club rugby. Out there wearing number 4. Dangerous moments here for the home side. As Trailfinders look to try and navigate their way over the 18 metres that they are from the line. They decide to release it. Ask Pat Howard to thump it up. He'll do that for them all day long. Now they come round the corner again. Steadman with the fend. He's really well met by Elliot Creed. But it's quick ball, and they've got numbers here into the corner. It's going to be, well, is it? Cordy Redden avoids putting it down just to steal an extra few more yards in field. But it was just a simple numbers game in the end. First try of the second half is Ealing Trailfinders' 4th. It's the bonus point score. Will they be taking that and all 4 points as well?
We've mentioned about the physicality. They were going to come out to this second half possessing it, always from that out-and-out carry from Howard, just absorbing the defender. Steadman, same thing again, and because you've lost your 13 and your 12 in that previous contact, it's just that simple numbers. You can see McCall and Jarvis getting in that back line, but it's 5 on 3, all too easy. Numbers spread left, and it's a lovely execution of a pass from Willis.
Biden with another 2 points.
It's the second phase there. Steadman just sucking in 3 defenders. Chandler gets round the corner. But a lovely whip pass as soon as this quick ball. So the Rooks not taking long balls, not on the ground for many seconds. That is the net result.
Restart is juggled, it's juggled backwards. Now it's away. Ball backwards on each time. Now it needs to be plucked out of the air safely, which it is. Decent running. Good steal from Lewis Jones. Tyrrell came out of the line a little early. Referee happy enough to allow play to go on. Away from Carter again. They've looked to try and get into the corner where there was no Steve McCall, but then there is. And McCall has gone downfield and over the head of Packman. But is that going to just bobble a little too far? It has gone over the try line. It'll be a 22 dropout. Howard in the position to look at a little sneaky one. Will probably take a little bit more time. Change being made. It's going to be Colin Quigley who leaves the field for Joe Sproston. Quigley gets a warm reception. Morath takes it out of the air. Feeds it on to Tyrrell. Tyrrell in a bit of open water. Really careers straight through the tackle. Presented it well enough, and then Sproston. First action is to come onto the ball, and he does well to stay on his feet, Sproston. And he's just running through men like they're not there. Tearing up trees, and then the little chip over the top to try and send Wilson scurrying after this. Is Wilson going to get there? What a score from Doncaster Knights! Brilliantly executed.
We'll talk about impact. How about Sproston? He's rocking 140 kilograms. He is a huge man, looks like a bouncer as he comes onto the pitch. And he certainly did do that, didn't he? Bounced, threw a toller out the way, and he was the first person to celebrate with Wilson. Marauding run, get out the way, off he goes, and then just continues the run.
Another strong fend.
Such dominance, and then from there, really clever, looks up. James spots at the space in behind. Because Gordy Rennan's got a turn, Wilson's got too much wheels, off he goes and gets it down. That is a great score.
Yeah, got to give credit to Tom James in that as well, haven't you? Wonder how much of a shout he got across to his winger before that little chip went over, but Wilson knew what was coming. What a score. I could do with Morath slotting the 2 points here. Come round, it might just. Flags are raised.
Well, worth watching this again just to see Sproston come round the corner and off he goes. Nothing better than seeing a big man flying. Even gets away from the approaching defence as he swats people off for fun. That is a timely score.
He's gone through 3 there, hasn't he? Brilliant. More of that, please, Joe Sproston. Morath comes forward to take it. Looks to try and slide his way through. Volume goes up from the home fans. They're liking a bit more of what they're seeing from the Knights this second half. Need to keep the momentum up. James. They go a little wider through Jarvis. It was loose for Wilson, the try scorer. And he wants to sit people down as well. Does it to Packman. They try to keep it infield. Challoner gets his mitts on it, but flag is up from the assistant on the near side. And well, 13 points the difference. We're at one of those cliche moments to say the next score, Rob Vickerman, is all important.
Well, very much so, but turning the ball away in your own 40 metres, not good. Wilson's reaction clearly showing how frustrated he is, and now it's ascendancy back to Ealing.
Duratalo wanted to get back on the front foot with ball in hand rather than defensively, and it's just shipped on from Alan Walker. Greg Willis thought about the long ball to the wing, but saw that option was cut down, so Carter will play it back infield. Josh Tyrrell, the Samoan, with the hit. Duratalo was just occupying that space out on the right. Oh, if he'd have fed it back to Carter, Carter was surely in there. So often creates the holes or gets through them to be able to put other men through. Steadman needs support. He's coming back for Carter. First man offering himself is Tom Denton. Tackle was good on him, but the ball's there again. Duratalo just on the fringes of the ruck, looking for the gaps to stride through, and then again it's Carter, the former Rotherham and Cinderford scrum half. Takes another metre or two, so he'll need someone else to step up and take on those duties, and Walker will do it alongside Jake Elwood, a man whose parents must have been fans of the Blues Brothers. It's away for Walker again. Lewis Jones. Jones thinks about stepping back inside. Doncaster nearly in a good position to have turned that over, but just couldn't quite get the momentum through the ruck. Steadman. Carter again. Well, he had Landry looking to try and run from deep. Landry didn't get the ball, and then the handling error will give Doncaster possession, and having defended that fairly stoutly, they'll be pleased.
And it's a real change of system there in defence, Nick, because Doncaster were looking to shut down the space. Their line speed increased, which meant that they were shutting down Ealing's attack, and that's when errors creep in. That constant pressure, not many people compete in the breakdown, so there's a lot of people on their feet around, and you can tell look at their targets in the ball. They're running toward to shut them down, out to in. Now that's important, because it means if Ealing do line break, or if they do choose to kick, the Doncaster players will not be able to turn, but confrontationally it's very impressive defence from Doncaster.
So Dave Nelson makes his way on for James Malcolm, and Morgan Eames is also onto the field. Matt Challoner has done enough carrying for one day. Another one of those slightly newer faces. Joined last summer, featured in 9 of the 13 league wins. Have to be part of a league win this afternoon if the Knights can turn this one around.
One of those pivotal moments now, Nick, where that momentum really is shifting a little bit. You can tell when Doncaster got their score, the tempo rose, excitement grew, crowd started to get into it. Now it's just that point where it's meandering a little bit, people wondering what's going to happen next. Still a decent enough break, 13 points is a lot of a good lead for Ealing, but they know they need to get the ball back, and Doncaster pretty threatening in broken field.
From James, we saw some dominance in the first half from the scrum, and we get it again. Morath, he's gone for a little shallower kick here to try and allow the chase. The oval ball just deciding to opt for the touchline rather than staying in field, which is I think what Morath would have preferred out of that little chip through. Incidentally, got a final score from Richmond Athletic Ground, and it's London Scottish 27, Jersey Reds 24. So the first weekend of the day concludes with a win for London Scottish, their first of the season, which will keep Jersey Reds in a position which they are not entirely thrilled with, but congratulations on Scottish. Jersey will take a losing bonus, of course, as we now have Duratalo trying to put his centre through Pat Howard, and Howard does get away, and Howard's got support on the inside. It's gone forwards from Carter. Trailfinders just not quite as accurate as we saw them first half, and well, that largely down to Doncaster just putting a bit more pressure in all areas.
Yeah, Howard's left a significant indent on the pitch now, punching the ground. Such was his disappointment, but what a wonderful break it was. Duratolo just shifted off to him, saying, there's the platform, you're a big 12, see what you can do. And you can see the size of him is going to make some sort of impact.
Scrum started to turn, but they've actually come back down to this short side where they almost have the numbers, and it's brilliant running from Tom James, the scrum half, fancying the opportunity to go. He needs the support, needs the shout. Can the Knights make it work? Morath down the short side. Then Creed. Oh, and have Ealing got themselves a decent turnover? No, referee says he put his hands beyond the ball before he tried to come back and rip it. And that is a penalty. It's an area, another one of those areas the referees are putting a very keen eye on this season. So Morath has a little turn round to his teammates, trailing by 13. We know that they showed success at the end of that first half with the catch and drive. There's got to be a foregone conclusion to this question, hasn't it, Rob Vickerman?
Got to be going to the corner. You can tell Howard getting the shot initially. I actually thought rode that pretty well. A little bit unlucky there. You can tell his hands have gone down, but he's already tried to identify the ball. A little bit unlucky for Ealing in that phase of play, but this very much opens up a chance now for Doncaster to get well and truly back into this, just 5 metres out.
And that man McCall has taken every inch. There are just 5 metres left for their forwards.
How about these nines though, Nick? Absolutely carving up their metres run. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
James and Carter.
Ball is down. Now they're trying to squeeze it down the near side. Gone to ground, they're going to have to go again. Geordie Reid getting himself in there for Trailfinders, trying to make the tackles. We go around with another pod. Got Creed loitering under the post, he fancies a go. All 5'8" of him. Trailfinders with the reply shove. Morath is a little deeper. They haven't got an awful lot of room back here or support. Hayes is going to have to cut back against the grain and straighten, then get the support. They're coming back for the penalty advantage. Tom James wanted to grab that and tap and go quickly.
Well, rolling back a little bit to that line-out. Doncaster known for have a bit of a cheeky set play. They do tend to try things off line-out, so it's quite ingenuitive, but that wasn't accurate in terms of what they wanted to do. Again, they're going to look to try and slow it down, go to their set piece, but it's got to be better executed. This is a wonderful opportunity at a perfect time of the game to get that score.
Well, this is an interesting moment for Doncaster Knights because we know that they've had a few results at scrum time with some forward dominance and a decent straight shove. I imagine to begin with all they're going to get is a penalty or two. Is the design here to go for first phase ball for their outside backs or for their forward pack to try and do this 3 times and get a penalty try.
It's all about that hit. We've seen when it works well for them, it's when Hislop gets that initial hit. They've brought Curtis Wilton round, so they have got an overlap in the backs. More backs for Doncaster than for Ealing. It's just whether or not they see the ball.
Well, there's no movement to begin with, so it is going to have to be used. Oh, and it's a penalty to the Trailfinders. Matthew Carley spotting the detail that gives the visitors the penalty.
Well, all the plaudits and celebration there going to Ben Betts. You can tell as soon as there's a solid hit, someone's got to give. It's like the old Ouija board analogy. Someone's got to move.
He's put his hands in the scrum here. That's going to be the call. Well, I'm not sure if it was played.
You see so many of those when it does stay static for as long and then drop down because of the forces. It would be a reset scrum. The referee's clearly seen something there. He's identified as illegal. I'm just not quite sure there what it was.
No. We could see from the rear view that a hand starts to go in to play it, but I don't think there's contact with the ball when there is no movement. It's how the ball shifts and changes lanes here.
So Proston's arm still at the right angle, that's fine. And then, as soon as the squeeze comes in, that's why it comes down. But at no point there was there an infringement.
Very difficult to see what Matt Carley has spotted in there. Doncaster will be frustrated. Trailfinders have still got a fair bit of territory to get past if they're going to threaten the Doncaster line. There was a bit of a chat there from Sproston to the referee.
Rightly so, a slightly harsher call. Don't know huge amounts about the dark arts, Nick, of the scrums, but there you see those all the time being reset. Parity, and one of them drops down.
Robin Hislop makes way then. Toby Williams is on. Doncaster have won this line out. Might see that as a bit of a vindication. And there is the new man. Williams, first signing of the season he was. 31-year-old from Northern Titans, where he made 86 appearances. Now they've got a bit of room to set McCall away. McCall bowls it back in field. Did that come off an Ealing Trailfinders hand for the knock-on? I think the ball was played off a man who was behind the man who eventually picked it up, so it's an offside penalty. And McCall, having made the break, will now have the chance to stick this into the corner.
Yeah, McCall getting the benefit of Jarvis's quick hands there. Morath just hitting the fullback. Fullback releases his winger, which is his sole job. You can tell there he was offside.
Kick is an absolute peach from McCall again. Claire Daniels is marking out 5 metres once more, as you can now see on your picture. Doncaster need to get this one right. They're looking for the more traditional catch and drive here. One wedge has gone away, but now they turn and there might only be one man in defence. It's going to be the score, is it? Referee's happy. Doncaster get try number 3. Closing the gap to 8 points. Temperature going up at Castle Park.
Well, the Knights happy, having a little dance, and why not? That driving ball, so often the catalyst for the scoreboard at Castle Park. Wonderful split play. You've got to gamble where you're trying to stop it. And it's perfectly executed again from Doncaster.
Tricky conversion position. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Oh, Morath's only gone and done it. 5-point game. Crucial in terms of tightening up that scoreboard as far as can be. Sorry, 6-point game. Doncaster 22. Ealing Trailfinders 28. McCall. Looking to try and break around the corner of the ruck. It's there for James once more. Hoists it high, wants to ask some questions now of Ealing under pressure. Lydon answers them. Brilliant pop from him to Cordy Redden. Cordy Redden chips the ball infield. He's going to need someone to deal with it. Now on his own line. Paul Jarvis is in all sorts of trouble. 5 metre scrum. Great work from the Trailfinders.
Oh, Lydon, how good was that? We featured the fullbacks pre-game talking about how adept they both are in different ways, and there we're seeing them at the fore. That first of all in shot is Jarvis with a remarkable, how he gathered that ball on that bounce, I'm not quite sure. Incredible work from him. But what about that offload? Lydon popping it up for Cordy Redden to get the inroad to then put the kick in.
Have another little look at the last score. Brilliantly done. Might be Willie Ryan, I think, who got that one down. Well, having tightened it up to 6 points, Doncaster Knights are under big pressure here.
And this is where you don't want to be when you know you've got a cart horse of a 12. Howard's just stood there, chest out, shoulders back, waiting for the ball. He's going to run in one direction solely. And he has got round about 10 to 15 kilograms on top of his opposite man. So it's going to be interesting how they stop him, or perhaps use him as a wonderful decoy.
Ball coming to the back. Durutalo is going to be the one to go. He fancied it himself, thought about giving it. Got white line fever momentarily. Walker just lost his footing. Cameron Cowell, incidentally, is on for Paul Jarvis for Doncaster Knights. They are queuing up out on the right if it can go. There is Howard. Doncaster need the defence there, but they're going to get a penalty. Ealing Trailfinders, and is it going to be any more than just the penalty? Tap and go quickly. It's going to be another penalty because Doncaster Knights were not on the try line. So they're giving away plenty in this area. Walker powers over the line. Referee says it's held up. That was decent defence, but we might be seeing a little bit more here. I think we're going to have to get the game's first yellow card. Players not making it back on side, and Toby Williams is going to be taking 10 minutes.
And it goes back down to what we said before about how chancy this defence is. If you get it right, it looks great. You shut down the space. There was about a 4-man overlap that Tyrrell decided to try and fly. That was the initial penalty. Patman then decided to take it quickly, get the tap going, get into the middle of them. Wonderful hold-up defence there, but it was Williams that gets the 10 minutes on the sideline.
Sensible bit of management. Management here from the Trailfinders. They've got that 6-point advantage. Just the 3 points. Turn this into more than a converted try. Crucially, denied Doncaster even a losing bonus. Lydon then to add 3 points. No problem at all.
And that's your settler. You need that little bit of experience just to say, we'll ride this storm. Doncaster have been coming at them pretty thick and fast. That one little offload from the man who just got the penalty got them down there. 3 or 4 minutes of possession in Doncaster's 22. Yes, they're abrasive with their defence, but ultimately giving away penalties, which was highlighted pre-game for something they can't do against this team.
Doncaster Knights will have been pretty pleased with 14 unanswered points in this second half before that penalty from Lydon. But they're going to need to well, go about something similar if they're to turn things around. 10 minutes remaining. 11 points the difference. Or 9 points the difference. Can't even get my maths right. Scrum down for Ealing Trailfinders.
That's another big moment. You look at the team synergy. Well, this is a squad we're watching here, Nick, that have been thrown together. 26 new players in the off-season. You get moments like that when you know the game's really in the balance. That's when you start celebrating. That's how you build this type of culture and spirit that every single team around the world crave and want. Moments like that to be celebrated. Big forwards doing some graft.
Rowan O'Regan onto the field for Ealing Trailfinders. And try scorer Willie Ryan has made way for Doncaster Knights. Carter, Firatalo is waiting with it. Gets it away, will have a bit of a carry, looks to try and offload it off the right, takes 3 to bring him down. Geordie Reid will pick and go route 1 for another 3 metres. Carter again, quick ball for Landry, getting the American internationals fully involved. Handling error. It'll be a scrum to the Knights.
Tense times now as the Knights supporters and mascot, they're thinking they need that one next bit. They're one man down, the scrums have to be rejigged. They're going to try and hit it with Lloyd Hayes taking on the open side role. There's a special appearance for you. You always tell yourself you can do it as a centre going into the back row, but it's a bit difficult. And now it means it narrows up their attacking options. They're going to bring Wilson round. Hopefully they get a chance to get into it, because that's going to make for a thrilling last 8 minutes.
By the free kick. Trailfinders want the scrum again.
A bit of a debate at the moment with the Knights. They're going to go into this with just 7 men, so no number 8, which means straight away they've got a pretty significant weight difference, and they're going to keep the ball in here without a doubt.
Carter have opted to send Pat Howard screaming down the line, and if he could have got the offload away to Pacman, Pacman was in for the score, but well, Pat Howard had other ideas, because he's going to go and do it all himself. An outrageous carry. And try number 5.
I've been really impressed with Howard all afternoon. He is just relentless. Doesn't necessarily throw outstanding footwork or mesmeric passing, but his game is so abrasive. Out and out hard line. Didn't need to give the offload, but knows he probably should have done.
Yeah,
and whispered in his ear.
Yeah, a little hug with Pacman there to say I could probably have put you in, and the fact that I didn't meant I really had to make sure I got there myself. He certainly did. Look at that.
Again, we've got to mention that's not great defence. Callandine first off fell off him. Morath again missing it. But that is some carry, isn't it?
Conversion is good.
We'll just see it again. Not giving up. Callandine dished. Wilson can't make it. Cowell can't stop him. Hayes even tries to throw some weight behind it. It's like he's a cart horse just carrying people for fun.
seen Tom James conclude his work for Doncaster Knights. Full of running all day. And Henry Saniloli onto the field. Well, Rob Bickerman at this moment a chance to think about your Greene King IPA Championship man of the match.
I think there's been some really strong candidates from Ealing specifically, although Doncaster have shown their merits up front. It's been about the control that Ealing have had throughout this game. Carter for me has looked great. He's controlled the tempo, had a few good runs himself, same with Willis, but when you've got such a force outside like Pat Howard, who's gone forward every time he's got it, he for me is the Greene King IPA Championship man of the match.
Tyrrell. Oh, Trailfinders have ripped that away through Craig Willis. Referee perfectly happy with it. Penalty to Doncaster. Into the last few moments of the match then.
They've still got their eyes on the bonus point try. They need to try and go to what they know, and as ever with McCall, he will give you a chance to get your driving more going.
Well, this is their chance then. Jump to the front to Tyrrell. Start to get the drive on. How interested will Ealing be in keeping them out here? They've denied them the losing bonus, but can they deny them the 4-try bonus? There's the ball. They need to try and use it. Now it's out with Morath. Needs a big looping ball over the top, but didn't trust himself to throw it. Kurt Morath goes in to try and help provide the cover. Wilson is there as well. Sanaroli trying to keep the tempo going, but it's not the quickest. And it's on for Tyrrell. Needs the support there, then the ball needs to go quicker. You can see it's just a little bit slow at the minute. There's an advantage being played. Hislop, who's back on the field, is skipped for Morath. And now they find it to McCall. McCall with a skip one way and then the other into the tackle of Lewis Jones. Now Morath again, it's lateral across the 22. Who can punch it forward? Civetta has the ball stripped, but we're coming back for the penalty.
I think it needs to be a little bit gun-ho from Doncaster, because when they do try and confront Ealing just so good at slowing that ball down. You can see massive overlap, but because of those 2, 3, 4 seconds it takes to get that ball out the back of the breakdown, just so difficult for Doncaster to capitalise on it. They've got a few set plays in their ranks. I expect to see something a bit different, because Doncaster at the moment just not getting the inroads they need.
This lot comes off for a second time at the conclusion of the yellow card. Sproston back onto the field then. Oh, sorry, Williams, I should say. Can they get it right? 2 catch and drives have been successful so far. Ealing have done an initial sack to try and put bodies on the ball in the middle and stop the advance.
And this is where you see Saracens do this, and they put all 15 of their players in there just trying to get that ball over the line. That's their sole job.
Oh, but there's an obstruction. Accidentally driving into a player in front of the ball, and it's just getting a little overcooked now in the dying moments of this one.
It's got to be demoralising. Referee saying it's accidental offside. You can see it did fair enough. Williams there and Callandine, the two at the front, as soon as they get a little bit further ahead of the man carrying the ball, couldn't quite see who it was there, but that separation means it is then obstruction.
Yeah, it was Dave Nelson, and he just got a little bit detached momentarily, but that's all it takes if you don't remain bound. And it's going to be seen as an obstruction. You've got to allow the tacklers to get to you in that scenario.
I do like to see special plays in that situation. You know, Saracens are the ones who do generally score from those platforms because they put the likes of Barrett in there and bring the wingers in. You're going to get extra ballast. You've got people who are going to be then very difficult to stop. You know the ball's not going to go wide, so why keep your card clean? Get in there, get amongst it, put some weight behind it.
Everybody's taking on a bit of water and having a breather. Certainly our clock's gone red. Stadium clock is 3.5 minutes over, but that's definitely been a non-stop start clock. So this is surely a breather to take the ball and boot it into touch. But we'll see. Between Luke Carter and Duratalo. A pretty big expected Doncaster Knights shove. They have to get it right. Doncaster have got to be disciplined here. Referee's already given a free kick against them for an early engage 5-10 minutes ago at the other end of the field.
Williams making a bit of noise. Number 17 is about as wide as he is tall, in fairness. He's made to scrum.
He wasn't happy with being the one man who was pinged for the offside. They were giving away the offside penalty. It was any number of forwards and backs, frankly, but he was the man that referee Carley sent to the bin. Duratalo gets it away. Trailfinders keep ball in hand. Howard with the carry. Greene King IPA Championship man of the match. Now they come back again. It's there for Carter. He's taking his time. It's found touch. Perhaps referee Matthew Carley has got a few extra seconds on his watch than the rest of us. Doncaster line out. They've left a couple of the forwards out in the packs. Josh Tyrrell, one of them. Wasn't the easiest of takes, but Maratha's done well. And now Calladine, former Nottingham man, experienced championship campaigner. Then William didn't get any change out of the first bit of contact, so then he changes the run. Geordie Reid, who's been impressive all game, brings it down. Now back to the right to Tyrrell. Tyrrell dummies the offload to Sproston, who no doubt would have relished the chance to try and run over a few more yellow-shirted speed humps as we saw him doing earlier. Creed acquitted himself pretty well in that midfield. Williams again asked to carry into his opposite number. Marath options a little deeper from Creed, and now Cowell back inside. Oh, and he needed the ball to go, but you just wonder whether the support line from Seniloli was a little in front of him and he didn't want it to go. Marath, they're going in search of his fourth try bonus. Hayes is well brought down. Ball goes backwards. Wilson so close to that near touchline. Williams again. Threw it like a bowling ball. They ship it on again. They need a bit of dynamism and to break through. There is a more cohesive looking Ealing Trailfinders defensive line right now. Morgan Eames takes another couple of metres. It's away again from Seniloli. Then is the gap going to open up in the middle for Dave Nelson? He gets the offload away, and then Cowell. Oh, and then it was a juggle, and it has ended up going forwards off Josh Tyrrell. And the referee says that will be that. Doncaster Knights will be infuriated that they weren't able to take those last couple of opportunities and turn it into the fourth try, which would have earned them a bonus point, because after all their toils and trouble, well, they're going to finish this one not taking anything from the game at all, Rob Vickerman. And Ealing Trailfinders good for it, but well, we said at the beginning of the game, we heard from Glenn Kenworthy that it was all about taking those opportunities, and the ones that have got away have meant they've come away without anything.
Yeah, really summarised that last bit of play, how Doncaster have struggled a bit in this game. When they've got the tempo, they look really great, but just can't quite capitalise on that broken field, much unlike what they're used to normally. That's when they come to their fore. But conversely, Ealing take nothing away. Outstanding performance from them. They've been dominant in most facets. They've had that platform. They've had a wonderful scrum at times, which really did create lots of gaps for the likes of that man in shot there to do his damage in broken field. Conversely, Carter led from the front in how he carried the ball. Willis really controlled the game, and the big men out wide really did show their worth for Ealing.
Yeah, they certainly did. We'll have some post-match reaction for you as well, so do stay with us. But it's a final score at Castle Park of Doncaster Knights 22, Ealing Trailfinders 36 in round 4 of the Greene King IPA Championship. 3 tries from Doncaster Knights, 5 tries for Ealing Trailfinders. And I think we're hoping to get an immediate bit of reaction. We can go down pitch side, where I understand Nathan Middleton has got our man of the match, and it's Ealing Trailfinders' Pat Howard.
Pat Howard, you are the Greene King IPA Championship man of the match. Very big congratulations to you. How difficult was that game today?
It was quite difficult, to be fair. They came at us. We always knew they were going to be very physical, and they did come at us, but we managed to get the battle up front there, made some good chop tackles. We did let them in with our discipline though, and that's something we've got to work on, I think.
You were clinical when you took your tries. It's another bonus point win. Do you feel the team kind of attacking wise is really getting going?
Definitely. It's taken a bit of a while for us to get going with a lot of disruptions in the first few weeks of our campaign, but I feel like we're building a lot of momentum now, getting a lot of combinations and getting used to each other, and going forward very well.
3 wins on the bounce. Confidence flowing through the side, I imagine.
Definitely. As I said, there's a lot of momentum coming in here. Tough first loss against London Irish, but we've gone from strength there every game, and as you say, a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence coming through the side now, and we'll take this forward very well, I think.
What was going through your mind, London Scottish obviously coming back in the second half with those 3 tries?
That's just, again, lack of discipline like we showed here, letting teams in purely with discipline, defending well, but we've got to work on that, maybe just getting half a yard back off the defensive line, making sure we're squeaky clean, and I think we'll start to put teams away in the second half when we just work on that.
Talk us through your try. Was it a case of just pumping the legs, keep on going until you got to the try line?
Well, we've let a few balls go, a couple of areas, so we just told ourselves we want to tighten it up a little bit. No crazy offloads and just going, so I was lucky enough there to slip through a couple and just keep going, so I was very fortunate to get in there.
Pat, congratulations, very well done.
Cheers.
Well, Pat Howard, a solid contributor to that game, and well, just at the moment we were having to consider who was going to be our player of the match. Well, Rob Vickerman, he then stormed his way over for the last try of the game.
Yeah, he looked really impressive throughout, didn't he? I'm just concerned now he was running back to the team huddle. He's going to make that beer all fuzzy. He's going to be spraying all over the shop, but he's been an outstanding performer today. Really is saying something when you put someone the size of him at 12, knowing that he's going to be that general carrier every single time. But I can't think of a bad carry he had. He was always looking to get over that gain line. He was making an absolute menace in his defence as well. So really was a stand-up performer, the big South African.
So updates then in terms of scores that are going on elsewhere. We've got the result: London Scottish 27, Jersey Reds 24. That one was a 2 o'clock kick-off. And well, we haven't got the result up there for you, but actually Hartpury College are currently leading Coventry 23-17. That one can't have long left, so it looks like Hartpury College are going to get the win, and Coventry will fall to their second defeat of the season. So with the 2 results that we have got in there, this is without the Hartpury result, well, it brings Ealing Trailfinders up to 15 with that 3rd win. So highlights of the second half then, before we hopefully hear from Ben Ward from Ealing Trailfinders. And well, it was Cordy Redden who got things started after the break for Ealing Trailfinders.
As with the first half, really did look good when he combined with Willis. First half we saw it on the boot, this time all too easy with the miss pass. But this just shows how dominant Ealing were when they carried And it's a simple game, rugby, often overcomplicated, but if you're winning these collisions, if you're getting over that gain line, moving forwards, everything becomes a little bit easier. You can see the cut-out pass. Carter hits Willis early, who's screaming for it, and then this accurate right-handed pass goes across the defence. Jarvis as the fullback can't stop it. Now the Weatherall to run a little bit closer. And then, how about this? Joe Sproston, his first impact in the game, and what an impact it was. 3 defenders swatted off, 4th manages to somehow quell his run, and that is a really intelligent kick. Puts it on the left boot, and Wilson has too much pace.
Lovely from Curtis Wilson, and the vision from James for that little chip through. But Sproston, look, 1 down, fending for 2. You can have it as well. And then eventually a combination of Carter and Howard eventually stopping him.
And fatigue, probably.
Yeah,
20 metres, I'm done.
Absolutely beautiful. Here we go.
I like when he gets his tongue out when he knows he's really flying. Off he goes. There it is. That's one for the highlights reel.
That's a cracker. Wilson with the finish. And this marked a spell of 14 points from Doncaster Knights. They tightened it up to a 6-point game, with Marath notching up a couple of really tricky touchline conversions, and then this, on the second time of asking, they got the catch and drive right, and Willie Ryan with the score.
Yeah, the Castle Park favourite. You get more of a cheer here for a driving ball than you do for a 90-metre sensational break, but that's why. It's their bread and butter. They're so good at it, they just didn't get enough chance to execute accurately. When they do, you can't stop it. It's one of the things in rugby, you've got a human shield in front of you. Very difficult to stop it.
And then Pat Howard couldn't get the offload away. Knew at that point, I'm going to have to do it myself.
And didn't he just? What a carry. Runs straight back in at the scrum. No number 8, so Callahan has to do the work of 2 men. Sadly, he's got to try and tackle a man the size of 2 men. And off he goes, just bouncing people around. That's why you get man of the match. Not necessarily. Look, Packman's reaction there.
It's priceless.
He just knows what he's going to do, but it's just so difficult to stop.
Packman almost doing the Owen Farrell reaction to Cipriani's kick to the corner in the 3rd test in South Africa. But I think we can hear now from the winning director of rugby. Here's Ben Ward with Nathan Middleton.
Ben, congratulations. Another win and a bonus point win, but how difficult a game was that for you and your side?
It's always tough coming here. I thought there was at one point in the second half they started to come back. I thought we did some good stuff. We still coughed up a little bit of ball when I felt we could have stayed in a little bit more control. But I thought we felt reasonable, comfortable in defence, whereas they were going to break us down maybe from a little bit of ill discipline from us, kick to the corner. They're trying the second half was maybe a bit of a backfield error from ourselves. But overall, I thought we asked for a lot of work rate from the boys, and I thought they gave that in abundance.
28-22 at one point. What was going through your head as Doncaster were coming back? Was it just about kind of securing the ball and getting yourselves on the front foot again?
At that stage, it was about getting 3 points and getting a bit further than 7 ahead. Just getting a little bit of territory and getting hands on the ball. I felt when we got territory and we had ball, we were causing them problems. The bench made a real good impact, and at that stage, I think that's when we made a few changes and just brought a bit more energy to the team. And I thought they came on and, as I say, just up that energy.
Obviously, you start the season with defeat, but it's 3 wins on the bounce now. Do you feel your team is kind of clicking into form?
Yeah, look, I think it's well known that we've got 27 new players, and I think you can see in there's certain areas where we're very, very good. Still, attack-wise, is probably the hardest one that we're still taking a bit more time. We're very good for 3 to 4 phases. When we go through the phases, sometimes we get a little bit lost, but we're working on how we get back into our shape and how we can keep applying the pressure. But 15 points out of 15 after the first defeat of the season, I couldn't ask any more of the lads.
And just with that, the 3 bonus points as well, that must be at the start of the season as a coaching point of view. You're saying you've obviously got work-ons there, but for getting those bonus points, the attacking side of your game is there.
It is there, but again, we're always looking for that perfect performance. We're always looking for more. I think to come away and score 38 points, I probably shouldn't be saying too much that our attack's not there. It's just being able to concede less means that we keep ball for longer, but on the flip side, we're probably scoring after 1 to 2 phases, so I shouldn't take that away from the boys. They're doing very well in those areas, and as I say, we've got some really good ball carriers. I think Pat Howard's trial was fantastic. I thought he had a really good performance, and so we'll keep growing. I think we've got 14 injuries at the moment, and in the next couple of weeks we start to get a few of those guys back, and that gives a huge boost to the squad.
Pat Howard was the Greene King IPA Championship man of the match. What was going through your mind when he finally went over? Because he just seemed to keep pumping his legs. Was it just relief that you knew the win was finally there?
Yeah, we have a little bit of a joke in training that he shouldn't pass the ball, he should just carry every time because he's so hard to stop, but he has got some deft touches. I won't tell him to his face, but he has got some nice deft touches as well. But yes, it's always that that thing of a little bit of relief knowing that you've probably got the result tied up at that stage, but just pleased for the lads. As I say, they've come up here. We didn't have perfect preparation. We were a little bit late arriving today. The bus wasn't spot on how we like it, but the boys came up, rolled up their sleeves, and they worked hard, and they got the result they deserve.
And thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on the win.
Cheers, thank you.
He's a proper perfectionist of a DOR, isn't he? You can also tell that he hasn't hung up the boots too long ago, because constantly talking about the detail that he wants, the things that aren't quite right. But he knows that his team have scored 38 points this afternoon, and that the players have done a decent enough performance, Rob Vickerman.
Yeah, they really are the impressive team as we watch a flossing night. How about that? But it's been all about Ealing. I think they've had a wonderful start to the season. They've been documented 3 times and broadcast as well, so they've lived up to the hype, and they are the story. To have that many changes of player, getting 27 people in, and for Mark McCaffrey at the beginning of the season to say he doesn't want them to go, clearly they're going to try and prove that point. So I think they've been really spectacular how they've adults this season. They've come into it, they're looking physical, they're looking dominant, and are playing pretty well.
Yeah, Pat Howard at the end there, well, the comment that Ben Wall was making as well, he's the man that we want to carry all the time. Absolutely love seeing that shot of the offload that never was, and the absolute frustration. He's got to go on and make the try himself, which of course he did, so he did all the carrying that the team needed him to do. Let's have another quick look at then the other live streams that are coming up for you here on the England Rugby channels on YouTube, and of course on the Championship Rugby.co.uk website. In terms of Richmond Hartpury College, the first of our double-header games next Saturday, September the 29th, and then that's followed on the Tyrrell's Premier 15s website by Richmond against Saracens, also on the England Rugby Facebook page. And then Saturday, October the 13th, Tyrrell's Premier 15s, Loughborough Lightning against Bristol Bears Women. October the 20th, Hartpury College against Jersey Reds in another of our double headers from the Greene King IPA Championship to begin with. Then the Tyrrell's Premier 15s with Gloucester Hartpury against Worcester Valkyries. Some great little tastes of Greene King IPA Championship Rugby and Tyrrell's Premier 15s to enjoy. And then an international in the middle of the Quilter Series. We'll see how Simon Middleton's Red Roses are going against Canada Women, the second in their series. USA first, Canada second, and then Ireland third. You can get to Twickenham, of course, for that one going after the men's game. Sunday, November the 18th, 2 p.m. We'll be back at Castle Park. I'll be having some more chicken and some more of those lovely chips. And, of course, the gravy. Let's not forget the gravy. That's the most important thing. Thank you for interacting with us. If you sent a message to us on #ChampRugby, whether you were watching, having your breakfast in Jamaica, I think we'd all like to be there right now. Rob, thanks very much for your time, as ever. And we look forward to seeing you when we're here next week for that double header. But for now, from all of us here at Castle Park, it's a very good afternoon.